Now it's time for the fun part where we actually get to put this stuff on the wall. One of the questions I got yesterday more than anything was what is a yucca board? And I'll show you what it is. It's just a paneling board that's really smooth. It's made from eucalyptus, and what it is, it's a super smooth board. They have it in, I believe, this is an 1/8. I believe they have it in a 1/4 inch thickness as well. But it's super smooth on the face of it. And when you put primer on this, it really adheres to that. You wouldn't think so because it's so smooth, but the primers that we use, they really stick to that without running. And usually when I do my priming coat, I don't do a heavy one. I just kind of dust it on there the first time. And then the back of it is kind of this grainy grip stuff. So it really does good when you put adhesive on it. So that's what I'm gonna do right now. I'm gonna lay this out here and put some of this 375 on it. This is regular construction adhesive made from Loctite. Anytime I have an outlet, I like to go around it so it's not real pushy around it. And then from there, I just run like a zigzag pattern. That's really all you need to do. And when I compress that with the mallet, those heavier areas where I kind of put it on heavy as I push the caulking gun, they'll even out. So that's not going to go anywhere as it is. So we'll just let that, when we install this onto it now, we'll let the nails that we shoot into this, they're long enough to also shoot into the yucca board and hold it there on its own. But what we ended up doing, as you can see, this right here, it doesn't go all the way up. So before I put this on, I'm just going to take a shim and shim that out to make it where this has an even surface. The reason we did that was so we could maximize material use, because this right here is 48 inches and then that's how the sheets come anyways when you buy them. So then we just cut out what width we need. So as long as that's covered and we put a shim back here, no one will ever know it's there. So it'll save you. It saves me too on material costs. And then, you know, going up another few inches, then I have so many boards that I have to buy. It just doesn't make sense. But that is how you apply that. That's what yucca board is. It's just that smooth board, really good for backing on this kind of stuff. And you'll notice here on this one, like on that one, it's ripped to the exact width, but you'll notice I have like an inch on each side here. That's because this was a leftover piece from one of the cutoffs of this big board, but that'll all be concealed when we put this in here, so you won't be able to see it. And the gap is not big enough to affect whether that sits flush on there or not. But before I put that in, you need to smash this with the mallet to compress that, so you don't have any high spots when you put that adhesive on. You're not always going to put it on 100% even, so you'll always have like areas that have more adhesive than others. So this kind of smashes all that down. And then this is a flooring mallet that y'all seen me use a lot. It has a white mallet on it, so it doesn't make marks on white trim work, and it doesn't really make marks on anything. So I like using that one, and then we'll see what this looks like behind it. Just so you can see what I'm talking about. So even though I'm not a robot and I didn't put that on, 100% level everywhere, it looks pretty level now because that mallet smashed it all in. And it looks at level on both surfaces, on the Yucca board and the wall. In the corner, glitching. All right, so you saw me, I had that DeWalt nail gun, that 15 gauge battery powered one, but I think it had brain damage or something, because when we kept using it, it would just flash the light. So I took it back to Home Depot. So I'm back to using this one now for my 15 gauge until I find another one. Maybe it was just a defect in that one. But what he's doing right now, he's just smashing the Yucca board with that adhesive behind it. And I went ahead and started shooting into the studs. So I'm going to keep doing that. Then I'm hitting every style twice with a nail. And then I'm hitting every stud, every 16 inches there's a stud, and I'm hitting that on the top rail and the bottom rail. So this thing should not be going anywhere. And we're not putting adhesive behind here, behind the stiles and rails onto the Yucca board, because we want the cleanest edge we can get here where the stiles meet with the Yucca board. So to get that cleanest edge you can get, you're definitely going to want to not put any adhesive behind it, or else you'll end up with variance, and you're going to have to use a lot more caulking if you do that. No matter what, we're going to have to put caulking there just because it's paint grade stuff. That's what you do. But if I'll bring the camera up closer in a second and show you how tight these are, and you'll understand what I mean. So I'll show you all real quick up close and get focused on this. In between the vertical stiles and the Yucca board, we have a small gap that we're going to fill in. But if you can imagine, if there was adhesive behind here, that would bring it off even more. But I'd say we're pretty tight. And that's another good thing with see, that one is like seriously tight. And it never fails when you're doing this stuff. You're gonna have to move some boxes. You could notch out or build out around this stuff, but that's not good, really. But if you don't want to mess with this electrical stuff, it's really not hard. But just make sure you turn the breaker off. And I'm using a pop-in box, or remodel box as they call them. So now that that's in there, it uses toggles to squeeze it between the drywall. So there are these little wings, we call them toggles, and they have a stop on them, so when you tighten up that screw, it compresses the drywall, and now that thing ain't coming out of there. I'll try to grab the side of it and pull it. It's in there, and it's in there tight. So we're good to go on that. And we'll move that here in a little bit. But now that that's moved, we can cut out our last notch for this panel. And this will be hidden not only by the paneling, the Yucca board, but also by the style. I don't know how I did that first try.
Nervous when he was saying he's gonna have to do like right here or something.
What is he talking about?
The lady was moaning like that.
No, I don't understand that guy. He was talking about digging up so much drywall, and he said, I got a texture guy, he's all right. That was weird. I better put this together before I lose it.
He doesn't know how it goes around people. I think he's gonna be real violent or something.
Dude, I might as well call this electrician TV, because I am on fire. No, I'm just kidding. That's so dumb. I'm about to be on fire. When you turn that breaker on. You can see how quickly this kind of goes together once you have it all planned out. And that's kind of half the battle, really, is planning it out. Once you have it planned out and you pre-assemble this stuff, installation really isn't bad at all. I mean, it's not a lot of running in and out, back and forth to the saw. You just lay it all out first and then install it all at one time. The installation of this, once we have it all built, probably takes, I mean, a couple of hours, really, if you were to time everything. There's a lot of stuff in between, like moving outlets and stuff, but overall the install is not bad. I have got a mess to freaking clean here in a minute. All this junk, it's crazy, right? How much stuff we had to use just to nail some boards to the wall. that's how people see it, right?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you just gotta nail some boards up. What could you possibly need? A saw and a nail gun and a tape measure. You good? Really? Oh, that's always a moment of truth. Looking really tight over here too. Let's come up with this one barely, and we'll put our little cove will hide it. So, how's that? Good?
Good.
So we have everything in now, except for the trim pieces that are gonna trim this thing out. And what I'm gonna do is just put some Titebond on these mitered caps. And then I can fit these in their positions. And then that one will be an 18 gauge brad nail. Yep. I got a big mess to clean up. Not only out here, but, whoa, it's bright. Let me change the settings to show you. There we go. Out there, no, it's not that big of a mess out there, but yeah, I gotta clean that up. John is doing the caulking right now, so we can have that ready for when we come in the morning. That's completely cured, but I'm gonna get working on cleaning this up. The only other thing we did to this really was, you can see that little line at the bottom. we added that little cove molding I was talking about yesterday to kind of break it up. I got to do those 2 doors right there. Tomorrow I'll have those. So I talked to the guy today, and he's going to give me, I ordered them yesterday. He said they'll be in tomorrow. So, and that shouldn't take me long. I just got to do the bore and mortise for those. So those should be good to go. But overall, I think we're moving right along here. Looks like we made a pretty productive day today. Tomorrow we'll sand, prime, sand, and do some top coat. But here's what I'm dealing with now.